Hi Rebels. All right, let's talk about what to do when your spiritual tools in your spiritual toolbox start misbehaving on you. Let's talk about that. Plus, I'm going to give you a quick lesson in grounding, some of my favorite easy, fast ways to ground your energy, what the heck that means, and why you need to do it, and when you should do it. All right, you ready? Let's do this. Okay, so when your spiritual tools misbehave. So what does that mean, misbehave? Let me give you a really great example. Let's say you have an angel card deck that you love, that you use all the time, and you've been for the last 3 months pulling yourself an angel card from the same deck, okay? And all of a sudden, the cards don't really feel that connected to you. All of a sudden you look at the deck and you're like, all of a sudden you just don't get that same sort of reaction and feeling from the angel cards. They're not responding like they usually do. Hey Amanda, glad that you're here. What do? Maybe one of your crystals that you use or your pendulum that you use, maybe it's just not responding like usual. It's like not swinging, it's not going, doesn't have that same energy. Maybe all of a sudden you can't find one of those things. Maybe, maybe any of the tools that you have, guys, they're just not really working the way that they usually do. What's going on? What does that mean? What do you need to do? Listen, this happens all the time. So if this has happened to you, no big deal. Let me tell you what's happening. Energetically, you have a connection to all the tools that you use. And if you did like what I told you to do in a couple of videos ago, when you have different and new tools, hey Bonnie, you want to keep them with you all the time so they really respond to your energy. Well, guess what? Every once in a while, they get a little clogged up. They get a little jammed up. They stop vibing with you like they used to. So what do you do when that happens? Throw it away and just say forget it and swear at the universe? Nah, I mean, you can swear at the universe if you want. In my experience, it doesn't seem to care too much, but it's not going to help. What you need to do is actually recharge the tool and sometimes even keep it away from yourself for a little while. Put it away. Use something else, okay? A lot of times, if you're using the same angel card deck over and over again, intuitively, your intuition's probably prompted you to grab a different one. It's probably told you already, probably like 700 times, like, hey, dummy, I'm giving you signs to use a different deck, and you missed them. And so now they're just not responding right because intuitively, it's not what you feel connected to. All right. Maybe you've been using that big giant crystal and kept it next to you for every single session you've done. All right. And maybe all of a sudden it just doesn't have that clearing effect that it usually does. What do? All right, well, here are your options. You can charge it in a full moon. Super helpful. Okay. So in the full moon, put the stuff on a windowsill. You don't have to do it outside. That is helpful. But weather permitting, you don't want your stuff to get wrecked, right? So put it on a windowsill in a window that the full moon's kind of shining in, if that's an option for you. If not, any windowsill will do, to recharge the energy of that thing. That's the first thing you can do. Another thing that you can do is to use something like crystal quartz, like a big piece of it. I don't have it near me right now, but I have a big, it's a little bit bigger than this and it's kind of flat. So I will just stick like my deck or my other crystals or my essential oils or my journal or, oh my gosh, whatever the heck I'm using at the moment, right on top of that, pendulums, whatever, and just leave it to clear the energy, all right? Crystal quartz is really great at clearing energy. Amethyst is another good one at doing that. So you can do something like that. If that doesn't really work, I'll put it away for a little bit. I'll literally put it in a drawer until it speaks to me again. I don't forget about it. I have a drawer of stuff, but I just say, okay, I'm just gonna put that away. If it's a piece of jewelry, I just don't wear it for a little while and then I bring it back. That's what you need to do. It just needs a little space, it needs a little clearing, and there's probably something else that's gonna work better for you that you just need to be open to. Hey, Nicole, so she says, let's see, I'm trying to read your comment. I run my hands over my deck and they tingle when I'm over the right one. The last 2 weeks, I have had to use my pendulum. Yeah, that happens. So switching tools is a great idea. And yeah, that happens. I do the same thing. Like I feel an energetic connection between like the right deck or the right oil or the right crystal or whatever for what I'm doing, and that's what I do. And sometimes all of a sudden one just doesn't speak, or it doesn't do it. So I'll grab another tool like a pendulum or something to see. So that's a great, absolutely great tip, Nicole, for sure. So let's talk about what's going on that's happened. First of all, you've probably gotten 72 intuitive signs already that you need to pick up something else, that you need a different deck or a different crystal or whatever. And you just missed them, or you just weren't digging it, you weren't into it, you wanted to keep using that same one because of convenience, and so you just kind of overused it. It happens, no big deal. It typically takes about a week without being touched and pawed and your energy all over, for something to kind of reset. So keep that in your mind too. A week later, go pick it up again. Probably all of a sudden you'll get an intuitive feeling like you want to go use that tool again, and that'll be the right time. So that's how I kind of work it. I like to put stuff, like sometimes I have a drawer where I have a lot of tools, so I go in there a lot. But if you don't have that and you don't want to forget about it, just put it like up on a shelf or somewhere that you could still see it, but it's not where you're accessing it every day, and kind of allow it to clear. Or just keep it over on the windowsill until you just really feel drawn to picking that back up again. All right? Okay, so now let's talk about grounding. I bet you hear people say all the time, like, oh my gosh, I need to get grounded, or I'm so not grounded, or hashtag grounding when they've got their, bare feet in grass. It gets used a lot, but I'm not sure people fully understand why you should be doing it and what exactly it is. All right, so let's talk a little bit about that. I will say, if you feel really interested in this, in grounding, there are some super cool, amazing books and tools and mats, and there's like a wire setup. I think Mary Fast, when you watch this video, if you see it, she has something really cool. I think it's a mat or something for grounding. But anyways, if that interests you, like, go fall down a rabbit hole and Google and YouTube that stuff, because it's so interesting to really get into if that speaks to you, all right? I'm gonna give you the abridged version of it tonight so that you can kind of understand what it really means. So we are beings that are of the earth, right? We're connected to the earth. But a lot of times, if you're empathic and you're tapping in and you're using your intuition, or you're in a really creative space, which is also using intuition, if you're doing that a lot, your energy tends to stay up here. We tend to chill in the upper chakras, us empathic people. It feels better up here. Those lower chakras, friends, are messy. They are messy. That's where like most of our trauma is just hanging out. So being up here usually feels way better. Intuitive people who are thinkers, people who are really creative minds, intuitive, like to tap in, those kind of people, our energy tends to go up here and stay up here. The problem with that is when you stay up there too long and you're not reconnecting back down through your lower chakras, through your feet, and back to the earth, when you're too much connected, we call it connected to the stars instead of connected to the earth, when you're too much up there and not enough, that balance gets thrown off too much for too long, you start to feel really scattered. You start to feel all over the place. You're like, okay, that's bananas. I can't even think about what I'm doing. I'm doing 20 million things at a time. I can't think straight. I keep forgetting stuff. I lost my keys for the 35th time. I spilled my drink because I didn't wait to put the cover on before I grabbed it or whatever. When that's starting to happen, you know your energy is not grounded, all right? And that's from staying up here too long. So people who have, even people who aren't empathic, but people who have trauma that they have not dealt with from childhood will have a lot of trouble grounding their energy because they're avoiding these lower chakras, because that's where that's stored, okay? So like, for example, if you had like a real difficult situation with your immediate family, like maybe with your mother or your father, and you feel very disconnected from them, and that happened in childhood, it'll be really hard for you to really be in your root chakra and chill there and access that and throw the energy through there. So that's why working on yourself and healing your wounds and working through them is so extra bananas important, because when those chakras are all gunked up, it's really hard to bring that back down. Having balanced energy is key. Because if you're grounded and you're trying to tap in and be intuitive or creative or whatever you're doing, right? Especially if you're doing the kind of job similar to maybe something like I do, where I'm tapped in, but I'm also speaking. So I have to be a combination of really having my energy up here and connected, right? To also being grounded, because I have to be able to speak and I have to be able to think fast and I have to be able to apply things, right? So if you have that kind of a job, or you're just that kind of a person, or something that would call for that during your day, motherhood's another great example, right? Being able to tap in to see what the heck you should do or what's wrong or what's actually going on and then deal with it. If those things are going on, you need to have everything out of balance. And everyone has their own unique balance, okay? If you're too grounded, you're just not connected at all. There's no creativity, there's no nothing. It's just kind of like, whew, right? It's a better alternative than being not grounded at all. But it's still not where you want to be. You want to find your balance. So when you've been spending a lot of time up here, you need to do extra things to ground your energy. One of the most easiest things that you can do is go outside and put your feet on the grass or in the dirt or in the sand or somewhere like in the ocean. All right, that's going to really ground your energy, because a lot of times it's not that we really forget, but it sort of goes to some place in the back of our mind that we are made of what the earth is made of. We're of this. And that energy that's pumping through the earth is something that we need to be healthy. We need to be connected to that. Now listen, back in the day, we spent most of our time outside. In current society, we spend most of our time inside, the majority of us, okay? So there's much more of a need to go outside and be grounded. If you can't get outside, there's a couple of things you can do. If you're like, Heather, that sounds great, but I work inside from 9 to 5 every day and just can't like run outside all the time. I run out for 2 minutes on my lunch break if I get a lunch break, but that's not always enough. You can do other things. One of the best things to do is to have rocks or crystals around, especially rocks that you found from your area. So wherever you live, if you go out, you find some rocks and you keep them with you, it's going to be super helpful. Now, a lot of kids do this naturally. I know my oldest son, Gavin, since he was a baby, would just naturally be drawn to putting rocks in his pockets. He just wanted to feel more grounded. And he is like the deepest thinker that I have ever come across in my entire life, okay? So he just naturally knows that. A lot of kids know to do that naturally. It's instinctual, all right? As adults, we forget, or we think people are gonna think we're crazy pants because we just keep sticking rocks in our pockets, or we take them out and hold them in our hands, or put them on our third eye or the top of our head. But those are very helpful, easy things that you can do that will help you feel grounded. If you're an essential oil girl like I am, using an essential oil that's very grounding, so any that are made from a tree, Northern Lights Black Spruce is my favorite, but there are balsam fir, there's a ton, pine, one of my most favorite, frankincense, all very grounding oil. So you can also put an oil on to help ground your energy. You can do a quick visualization where you just close your eyes for a minute if that's possible and imagine some roots, like little roots, like from a tree growing out of your feet, going through the building that you're in all the way down into the ground and just sending you energy up through them. That will help to ground you. Listening to sounds of nature, even if they're not real ones, if they're like on your computer, like a sound thing, listening to that, very helpful, very grounded. That's why a lot of people will listen to those things as they're falling asleep at night, because it will ground your energy and not take you into waking up 1 billion times and having like those cucaracha dreams where you're just like, what did I eat? That will help with that to help you stay asleep. So those are some things you can do to help you feel grounded. Remember, it's about balance and it's about giving your body what you want, what it wants. So when you start to feel scattered and you're like, can't think straight and clearly, and you can't focus on completing tasks, you're jumping all over the place, that's your energy telling you, hey, we need to be grounded. One thing that you can do to quickly test to see if you're grounded or not is just stand up with your feet on the ground and shoot energy. Imagine a straight line coming from the top of your head, shooting all the way down to the ground. If that feels easy and you feel sort of heaviness when you do that, your energy is grounded. If you do that and it feels difficult for you to get that to go down all the way into the ground, or it feels like it's barely going, there's no heaviness, you feel kind of like you're floating up here, you can't visualize it, then those are signs that you're not very grounded. All right, so you can do that. The other thing you could do is, of course, the sway test, my favorite thing, or you can use a pendulum to do this, where you set yes or no. And so I do it, everyone has a different way of doing it. I learned it the way that front and back is yes, positive. Side to side is no, negative. All right, so you can just stand up and you can say to myself, my energy is grounded. And if you tip forward, that means, yeah, your energy is grounded. If you tip to the side, it means no, your energy is not grounded and you need to do something to ground it. All right, very simple things you can do. But if you're tuned in, you'll start to get used to it. You'll start to know when all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I need to ground myself. I can always tell because I literally just feel like all my energy is up here, and sometimes my feet will even get like pins and needly or achy, and I'm like, okay, I've got to send it down. A lot of empaths also have foot injuries and issues and problems like foot, ankle, sometimes even into the knee. And a lot of times it's because we just don't send enough energy down there. So it's hard for those areas to heal or to get enough energy. And so they're like calling out to us like, help, send energy, right? So those are some things that you can do. I hope that all of that helps you. I hope that you're having a fantastic night. Quick things that I want to tell you. Tomorrow is the last day that you can get the early bird special for the Unstuck package. So if you're thinking of doing that, it's 4 sessions with me plus a bunch of great bonuses that are already discounted a lot. And now there's an extra early bird special. Plus you get to use your Rebel discount in there as well. You can still sign up next month, but in order to get the early bird special, you'd have to sign up by tomorrow night at midnight, okay? The other thing is that the Sharpen Your Intuition Challenge, which I know a lot of you are in, that closes tomorrow night at midnight. So that it'll still go on, but I'm not taking any new signups after tomorrow night at midnight. Okay, that's when that new thing closes. So if you did want to do that, it's $39.99 for Rebels. It's $50 for everyone else, but for you guys, it's $39. So if you want to do that, jump in and do that before it closes for a while. Okay. I also have a super cool, exciting thing that I'm going to announce tomorrow, and I can't wait. I'm going to be up like really late tonight working on it probably. But I'm really excited. It's like a game changer thing that I'm doing that has to do with social media, and I'm really excited. I came up with this idea, and you're going to see me do it. And when other people start copying me and I'm like, hey, remember I was the first to do it? Just remember, I told you. Can't wait to tell you about it. I'm really excited. It's going to be super fun. All right. Have a great night. I will talk to you soon. Go ground your energy before you go to bed, and I'll talk to you. Bye.